I think sometimes because we've done something for so long, it's easy to just pigeonhole ourselves into roles, into organizations, because it's what we've always really done. And like, how can I go somewhere else and do this? Start thinking about, how can I use all of these other skills to try something new? Hey, I'm Nika Smith, and welcome back to the Great Big Life TV, where we talk about all things midlife transition. Today, we're going to be diving into something that has been coming up a lot, and it is about career pivots. Number one, we're living in a time where you're having to pivot because the way the world is going and people are getting laid off and let go, you're having to make some different career decisions. Number two, if you're a person in midlife, you might have already started thinking about that anyway, regardless of what's going on with the economy and with the society that we're living in today. So it probably was already on your radar, but maybe even a little bit more so now. The other thing I'll say is that I'm someone who's had plenty of career pivots, from working in corporate to working for nonprofits to working in government to working in tech now, where I am now, to being in my own private practice, running my own business, to being an author. I've really made quite a few career pivots. So I'm not saying I'm an expert on it, I just know a lot about it. And part of career pivots is not always just being extremely planned and knowing exactly where you're going. It's not just like having this plan that's specifically laid out, because if you are in your 40s or beyond, or getting there, you're realizing that you can plan for a whole lot of stuff and things will not work out exactly the way you wanted them to, which is okay because you landed where you were supposed to. The idea, though, is to prepare, right? I think it's important to be prepared, but then to also be open to other possibilities. Otherwise, you will find yourself really disappointed and frustrated when things don't go your way, and you'll be closed off to opportunities that are actually pretty cool and may be really important to your ability to pivot to the next thing. So let's get into it. Let's get into these 5 questions to ask yourself when you're considering a career pivot. The first question to ask yourself is, what do I actually want? Not what society says I should want, not what my mama say I should want, not what my friends are doing, not what other people are doing, or what would make the most sense because I'm at this stage in my life. But for real, like, what do you really want? It could be the most outlandish, craziest thing ever, but it's just a question. It's just a question you're asking yourself. That's it. Don't be afraid of questions. Don't be afraid to question yourself. But ask yourself, what is it that I really, really want? So, what do you want? Do you want more flexibility? Do you want less stress? Do you want something that's more fulfilling? Do you want more money? What is it? More balance? What is the thing you really want? And I also want to tell you, don't get stuck in this mindset of it's too late. It's too late to start over. It's too late to build a different career. It's too late to change your mind. It's never too late. Again, get in the habit of thinking and exploring things and having a growth mindset. Anything is possible, right? Again, I'm not telling you go run, quit your job. I always like to preface that. But change begins here, right, in your mind before it can take place in the real world, in the physical. And if you're always thinking, well, like, I want to do this, but I can't. I want to change careers, but I'm too old. I want, like, as soon as you say that, but as soon as you say I can't, it negates the dream, right? You're stopping your dream. You are standing in the way of your own dream. You can say it's somebody else, because any people can tell you anything. They can tell you you can't. They can tell you you're too old. They can tell you it's too late. They can tell you whatever. But what is it that you believe, right? What is it that you want and that you believe? And if you're a spiritual person, what is it that God wants for you, right? Do you know what that is? You might want to start asking that too. Not just what do I really want, but what does God want from me? And am I afraid of either one of those questions? The second question I want you to ask when it comes to a career pivot is, what skills and experience can I leverage? At this stage in the game, you should have quite a bit of experience and expertise at a particular topic, in a particular role, on a particular subject. You have a skill set and expertise. not just what your degree says and not even just what this job says. You have soft skills, you have leadership skills, you have assertiveness, you have communication skills, conflict resolution skills that you can use anywhere. I think sometimes because we've done something for so long, it's easy to just pigeonhole ourselves into roles, into organizations, because it's what we've always really done. And like, how can I go somewhere else and do this? Start thinking about how can I use all of these other skills to try something new. For instance, I have a background in professional counseling. Actually, my undergraduate degree is in healthcare management, and then I have a master's and a second specialized master's degree in professional counseling, right? So one might say that I just will be a professional counselor, or maybe I could be a clinical director or something like that. And I don't do any of those jobs anymore. I don't actually. My day job is that I'm a clinical recruiter. And I'm able to hone my ability to communicate well, my ability to engage with people, build rapport. Helps me to be a really good recruiter, as well as project management skills, because I have other things that I do besides my day job. There are other tasks that I do at work that makes me have to develop programming and manage projects and mentor and coach people. And I'm not even a manager, and I still mentor and coach people. So all of these skills have taken me from working in nonprofits to working in corporate to working in government to working in tech. They've taken me all around the world when it comes to career. So look at your skill sets, look at your expertise, not just what a job title says, and think about how can I leverage this? How can I use this skill set and place it somewhere else? A little tip I'll give you is if you see a job that looks like out of your scope in terms of maybe some of the title or some of the job is aligned with what you've done, but some of it isn't, take your resume and take the link to whatever that job description is, put those both in Chat GPT and ask Chat GPT, how can I leverage my skills to do this job? How can I leverage my expertise to do this job? Once you do that, it will really open up your eyes to what's possible for you. So don't underestimate yourself and what's possible, because that's how pivots happen. And this is a reminder, you are not starting from scratch, you are starting from experience. Question number 3: what is the smallest step that I can take today? Again, I have to reiterate this all the time. Nobody's telling you go quit your day job. Okay? If you need income to live your life, just like I do, don't go quit your day job. However, there are small steps you can take to explore. Again, we're in the exploration phase. Go watch my video on midlife exploration to hear a little bit more about that and dig a little bit deeper. But for you, the exploration could be revamping your LinkedIn. It could be the tip I just gave you about using Chat GPT in your resume and asking it, what is it, what's possible for me with this skill set and aligned with this particular role, to open your eyes up. Taking classes, watching videos about the career, reaching out to people that are doing the job or in that role and talking to them. People don't mind talking about themselves. They love it, actually. So reaching out, talk to them, ask them questions about the role. Or you can test the waters and try a side hustle in the industry, right? Something that's part-time, you get paid a little something and you're learning, right? So I would do that. I would take the smallest step that could lead anywhere. And I'll tell you about myself. I never pictured myself, or let me rephrase that. I never thought with the background that I had that I would be in tech, because I was a therapist, I was a counselor, I was a trainer. And so I never thought that I could pivot there. But I thought about many years ago, like podcasts are a thing now, but podcasts wasn't always a thing. But there was a podcast. It was by the Stanford Business School, which I can't think of the name of it. And they would always have all of these startups talking about their businesses and how they were able to pivot and how they're able to grow their business or how they started one and failed. And so I have always had a love relationship with entrepreneurship. It just always fascinated me. And I would listen to these podcasts And I would listen to them just for general, ideas and just kind of how I could, build my business. But again, my business wasn't in tech, but it was just so fascinating that some of these businesses did what they did. Well, it planted a seed because while I was there, I would think like, I wonder what I could do with my business that could, lead into tech. And again, we didn't have a whole lot of telehealth way back then, right? This was probably a good 12, maybe 15 years ago. This is a while ago. But now looking back, because I had just planted that seed and I learned and I was just so fascinated by that and I would listen to these long old episodes to find myself in tech. And once I got there, um, it may not have made sense to anybody else, but it made sense to me, right? The seed had been planted of what was possible. And the only step I took was listening to a podcast. Question number 4: how can I handle the fear of starting over? Let's just be real. Thinking about starting your career over or making a career pivot and you are 45, 47, 49 years old, it's scary. It should be. You should be a little afraid. You should be a little nervous. You know me, I think do it afraid. But it comes with the territory. Starting over, reimagining what's possible for you, reimagining your identity can be a little scary, right? Nobody tells us when we're young and we're 18 and we graduate from high school that we're going to, make all these changes and all these things are going to happen. What you realize, what I've realized at this point in my life is that if I don't take certain chances, I'll never know. If I don't do certain things, I'll never know. They'll just be things I talk about. And for me, maybe this isn't for you, but for me, I don't want to live the rest of my life wondering. I don't want to live the rest of my life not knowing. I don't want to get to the end of my life not taking the chances that I could have taken, right? And I get it. There's a lot of things to be worried about. If I take this chance, um, am I gonna have enough money? If you're dealing with the financial fear of pivoting, I'd say start planning right now, right? For the next 2 or 3 years. Create a pivot fund, right? Because you may find that in that time, maybe it's not that you're unemployed, maybe you're underemployed. You're not making the same money that you were making. And so, if that is the case, build as much of a fund as you can, but don't allow that to stop you from exploring. Question number 5 is the last question we're going to ask ourselves, which is who can I connect with to help me make this transition? If you know someone that's made a pivot, ask them, right? Talk to them, find out. You can listen to me. I've made lots of pivots. Someone you can listen to online, but if you want to talk to someone, you know somebody that knows somebody. And in the vein of knowing somebody that knows somebody, dig into your network. So not necessarily going networking, but the people that you know, people you've worked with now, people you've worked with in the past, and ask them not just about how they can help you, but what connections do they have? Do they know anybody that's done this thing? So it's not just about who you know, it's who you know and who they know, right? Those 3 degrees or 6 degrees or whatever degrees of separation. Find that out, and then that way you can kind of build a community as well. Another thing is to join some industry groups, right? One of the things I did when I was trying to make a shift or was making that pivot into corporate training was to join a talent development association, a local group chapter. And not only did I join, I also became one of the leaders of the core groups. And so a part of that was people that were independent and that were doing it on their own. So I would get speakers and stuff like that. And we'd hold meetings once a month. And so that was a part of what I did. And just doing that and being part of that organization helped me get one of my bigger contracts some years later. And it really is about, again, stepping out there, the fear, stepping out there, meeting new people, meeting some old folks, right? People you already know, but trying something a little bit different. But you want to build a community, people that you can connect with to help you with this transition. And that's on you. That's not on anybody else. Again, you got to feel that fear and move past it to get to where you want to be. All right, we've talked about a lot of things, and the reality is that this can be scary, right? This can be one of the scariest things that you'll do, making a pivot at this stage in your life, but you don't want to get to the end of your life wishing that you would have tried. I think by now, at this stage in our life, we know that the chances we don't take are the chances that are missed. And so if you have the opportunity, if you have the chance, try it, explore it. Doesn't mean you, again, go out and quit your job, but asking questions, meeting people, reading books, talking to people, watching videos, taking classes. And when you're ready, then you can jump, right? There are certain things that take a leap of faith, for sure. And then there are certain things that are just small steps in exploring. Find your comfort zone there. Find your level of comfort, what works best for you. If you've made a pivot, I want to hear more about that. So drop that in the comments. If you have more questions about it, I have a ton of experience to talk about. Leave those in the comments. I could probably make a video about it. But whatever it is, let us know. And again, because you're in a midlife transition, take some time, feel free, and download my midlife transition checklist that goes over my 5 points in the great big life cycle that helps you get from transition to transformation. That's my time today. Hope to see you on the other side. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.